Hi, how are you guys doing? I just wanted to hop on and make a video really quick and just say hi and check in and make sure that you guys are understanding what you're supposed to be getting out of the lessons that we've been learning. So first of all, I wanted to say keep up the great work. You guys are doing really well. I know it took a little while for most of us to get used to the assignments and used to working online and keeping up, but majority of you guys have gotten into a good rhythm and have been able to keep up on assignments. So great job, keep it up. We only have 3 weeks left, so that's exciting. You got this. I just wanted to talk really quick about what we just barely learned. So we just went through ecosystems, which you guys did really great on. I feel like you really understand it. So remember, for that unit, you guys had to be able to ask questions and evaluate and communicate information about how changes to an ecosystem can affect the stability of the matter that's cycling through the ecosystem and the energy that's flowing through, and how that there's non-living and there's living parts of that ecosystem. And you guys went through that simulation of the sea otters and the kelp and the urchins and how they're all connected together in their ecosystem, and how important each member of that ecosystem is, and that if we were to take out the sea otters, then that would be a problem because then there's a lot of sea urchins and they eat too much kelp. If we were to take out the kelp, then there's no sea urchins and the sea otters don't have things to eat. So all of those parts are really important, and you were able to show me that you understood that when you watched that video about the wolves in Yellowstone. And you were able to think about how the wolves in Yellowstone were such an important part of the ecosystem that they affected everything else when they were taken out and when they were put back in. So great job on that. Next, you guys are learning about now the carbon cycle. And the carbon cycle is something that you probably haven't specifically learned about before, but you probably know a lot about because it's been talked about a lot along with climate change, which is a big thing in the news lately. And climate change is really important to understand, and to understand it, we got to understand the carbon cycle first. So carbon cycle is just basically what you were supposed to get out of it is that matter and energy are cycling through the carbon cycle. And carbon is an atom, right? We learned about atoms at the very beginning of the year. We looked at that periodic table at the beginning of the year. We have lots of different types of atoms, and one type of atom that we talked about for this cycle is carbon. Okay, carbon's really important. It's part of everything. Like our DNA that makes up our body, it has a lot of carbon in it. It's really important for our bodies. It's really important for animals, for plants, for the atmosphere to run. Okay, so you learned that these carbon atoms, they are moving from one reservoir or place where carbon is stored into another. So some of the reservoirs included like the atmosphere, the ocean, plants, animals. Specifically for plants, forests are really important, like the Amazon, or kelp, like we talked about with the sea otters. The sea otters are really important because kelp absorbs so much CO2 that if we don't have kelp forests, then that's just more CO2 that's going to be in the air. Another really important one is that CO2 or carbon is stored in rocks and fossil fuels. And the problem with the carbon cycle right now is that humans are taking that carbon out of the rocks and using it as energy, and we burn it, and then that carbon is released back into the atmosphere. So before humans, and before we were using coal as energy, well, carbon wasn't really being released back into the atmosphere very often. It was only through things like volcanoes that it would get released back into the atmosphere. So now that we are here, we're kind of messing up that cycle, and that's why scientists are studying how much carbon is in the air, because we can clearly see that we are pumping more and more and more of that greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. What effect is that having? Well, we're warming up the planet, causing glaciers to melt, which is a problem, and lots of other things. But we're going to talk more about that. Okay, so we're going to move now. We're wrapping up carbon cycle on Monday, and then the next couple weeks we're going to talk about natural resources. Okay, so our planet is made up of lots of things, and we use a lot of those things in order for us to survive as humans. So it's important to understand what those natural resources are and what the effect is that humans are having on the planet by using all of these resources. Is it going to be okay for the planet, or is it going to be a problem? We'll find out. The other thing is that we're going to also learn about climate change, which is exciting. I think climate change is so interesting. I really wish that we could still be in class so we could have some awesome discussions about it. But I think that I'm going to try. You guys will be able to do it at home. So just try your best to stay up with what we're doing. Keep it up. You're doing awesome. Make sure you're checking Skyward, looking for missing assignments, because sometimes you guys miss like a Friday or a Monday assignment and you don't realize. So just keep up on checking Skyward. And also make sure that your notifications are turned on for Google Classroom. That way, if I leave a comment for you, you actually get a notification through your email that I left a comment for you, so you can go back and see it. You do this by going to your Google Classroom, go up to the left-hand corner, click on the little icon that's like 3 lines, and then scroll down to settings and click on that, and then you'll be able to change the notifications. So please contact me with any questions. You guys are doing great. Thank you so much, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of May. We're almost done with school. 3 weeks. We got this, guys. Bye.